How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, March 9th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Tuesday, March 8th. And of course, right after I get it, right before I preview what's going on today, I do want to take a quick step back and look at where we are in the calendar year. As we are in March 2022, with the football season being over, we are at the end of the college basketball season, as we are now in the conference tournament schedule. Some conference tournaments are over and some are just getting started. In the NBA season is coming to an end, as we are in the last month or so of the NBA season, as teams are starting to get ready for the playoffs. And then in soccer, we are starting to see teams get whittled out of the round of 16 as we are getting to the quarterfinal round of the Champions League. But right now, are going into yesterday's matchups, there were 16. Now there are 14. By the end of today, there will be 12 teams left competing for that title. Starting first with college basketball, jumping out to the conference tournament schedules. The only top teams that played yesterday were in the West Coast Conference, as the West Coast Tournament Final was being played in Las Vegas. The top-seeded Gonzaga Bulldogs would end up beating St. Mary's, the 17th ranked team in the nation, 82-69, after Gonzaga came into this tournament with the best record in the West Coast Conference. Coming in, Gonzaga finished their regular season with a 13-1 record in the West Coast Conference. St. Mary's, the 17th ranked team in the nation, entered this tournament with a 12-3 record in their conference, which was the second best record. So they were the top two teams within their conference. The top-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs would beat St. Mary's 82-69. They won by 13 after Gonzaga outscored the Giles by 10 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the 17th ranked Giles were led in scoring by their starting guard, Logan Johnson. He finished with 21 points in 36 minutes. He would go on to shoot 9 for 14 and 3 for 4 from the foul line. This was their guard from Mountain View, California. And on the winning end of this matchup, the top-ranked Bulldogs were led in scoring by their starting guard, Andrew Nembhard. Their starting senior out of Ontario would finish with 19 points, 7 assists, and 2 steals, as he played all 40 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field, and he would shoot 3 for 5 from 3. With this win, the top-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs already have earned and clinched a number one spot going into this tournament. Their next college basketball game will be against a 16 seed. It'll be a matter of just seeing who it will be. On the losing end of this matchup, the St. Mary's Giles are now, or I guess they are sitting at 25-7, as it looks as though they have clinched a spot in this tournament, finishing with the second best record and as runners-up in the West Coast Conference. So that's what's going on with college basketball, at least from yesterday. There are no ranked teams that are going to be playing today, as it's mostly the first round from a lot of other Power 5 and other basketball tournaments in college basketball. It will pick right back up tomorrow, and I will get into that. I'm looking now at what's going on with the NBA. Jumping to Charlotte, the Hornets hosted the Brooklyn Nets, and in this matchup featuring two teams in the East that are sitting about even in the playoff picture, it would end up being the Brooklyn Nets who beat the Hornets 132-121. The Brooklyn Nets won this game by 11 after they outscored the Charlotte Hornets by 14 in the first quarter and by 12 in the second. So they outscored the Hornets by 26 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Charlotte Hornets were led in scoring by their starting small forward out of Michigan State, Miles Bridges, and then their starting shooting guard out of Louisville, Terry Rozier. Bridges finished with 30 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 turnovers in 39 minutes. He shot 11 for 19 from the field. He would go on to shoot 3 for 9 from 3 and 5 for 6 from the foul line. Terry Rozier finished with 30 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. He would do all of this in 37 minutes. He shot 10 for 19 from the field, 5 for 11 from three, and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, LaMelo Ball, finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 30 minutes. He shot 9 for 22 from the field, and he would go on to shoot 2 for 8 from three and 4 for 5 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Brooklyn Nets were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Kyrie Irving, out of Australia. He finished with 50 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 15 for 19 from the field, 9 for 12 from three, and he shot 11 for 13 from the foul line. Their starting center, Andre Drummond, finished with 20 points and 14 rebounds alongside 2 blocks in 24 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field. Their goated starting power forward, Kevin Durant, finished with 14 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 turnovers in 40 minutes. He shot 6 for 13 from the field, 1 for 3 from three, and he made his only free throw on the night. With this win, the Brooklyn Nets are now 33-33. That is the 8th best record in the Eastern Conference. They've now won 4 of their last 10 games. In the play-in picture, they sit 2 games behind the 7th place Toronto Raptors from up north. They sit a game ahead of the 9th place Charlotte Hornets, and they are trailing the 1st place Miami Heat out east by 11 whole games at the moment. With this loss, the Charlotte Hornets are 32-34. That is the 9th best record in the Eastern Conference. They've now lost 6 of their last 10 games. In the play-in picture, they sit a game behind the 8th place Brooklyn Nets. They sit about even with the Atlanta Hawks as they have 1 more win and 1 more loss. Alongside the Hawks, they sit a game and a half ahead of the 11th place Washington Wizards, who are the first team on the outside of the picture looking in. The Hornets are trailing the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat by 12 games right now. Jumping out to Indianapolis, the Pacers hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers beat the Pacers 127-124. The Cavs won this game by 3 after outscoring the Pacers by 11 points in the 4th quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Pacers would be led in scoring by their starting point guard, Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton finished with 25 points, 9 assists, and 2 steals in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 14 from the field, 4 for 7 from three, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting point guard, Malcolm Brogdon, finished with 12 points, 5 rebounds, 12 assists, and 5 turnovers in 37 minutes. He shot 6 for 15 from the field. On the winning end of this matchup, the Cleveland Cavaliers were led in scoring by their all-star starting point guard out of Vanderbilt, Darius Garland. He finished with 41 points, 5 rebounds, 13 assists, and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 14 for 26 from the field, 4 for 9 from three, and a perfect 9 for 9 from the foul line. Their starting center, their rookie out of USC, Evan Mobley, finished with 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 steals in 36 minutes. He shot 8 for 15 from the field, and he shot 6 for 8 from the foul line. Their starting power forward out of Arizona, Lauri Markkanen, finished with 21 points and 5 rebounds in 30 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, and he would go on to make all 4 of his free throws. With this win, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 38-27. That is the 6th best record in the Eastern Conference. They've now won their last 2 games. They've won 4 of their last 10. In the playoff picture, they are sitting half a game behind the 5th place Boston Celtics. They are sitting 3.5 games ahead of the 7th place Toronto Raptors, and they are trailing the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat by 5.5 games. With this loss, the Indiana Pacers are 22-45. That is the 3rd worst record in the Eastern Conference, as they have now lost their last 3 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They are now currently trailing the Atlanta Hawks by 10.5 games outside the Eastern Conference. Taking a look at what's going on in Orlando, the Magic hosted the Phoenix Suns. The Suns would beat the Magic 102-99 to give the Magic their 50th loss of the season, making them the first team in the NBA to cross the 50-loss threshold. So that's where Orlando is sitting at the moment. But Phoenix would win this game by 3. They won at 102-99 after they outscored the Magic by a combined 10 points in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Magic were were led in scoring by their starting center out of Duke, Wendell Carter Jr. He finished with 20 points and 12 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field and 3 for 4 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Phoenix Suns were led in scoring by their starting center, DeAndre Ayton, and their starting shooting guard, Landry Shamet. Ayton finished with 21 points and 19 rebounds in 36 minutes. He shot 10 for 19 from the field and 1 for 1 from the foul line. Shamet finished with 21 points in 39 minutes. He shot 6 for 12 from the field. All of his makes came from 3. He was 6 for 10 from 3. He would go on to make all 3 of his foul attempts on the night. Their starting point guard, Cameron Payne, finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 12 assists, and 2 steals in 35 minutes. Payne shot 6 for 16 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he would shoot 3 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Phoenix Suns are now 52-13. They have now won exactly 80% of their games. That is the best record in the Western Conference and in the NBA, as they are the only team that has won at least 50 games. They're the only team that's won more than 45 so far. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They sit 8 games ahead of the second best team in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, at the moment. And with this loss, the Orlando Magic are 16-50. That is the worst record in the NBA. As like I said, they're the only team in the NBA with 50 losses at the moment. They've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They are currently trailing the 10th place Atlanta Hawks by 16 games at the moment. As they are currently, as with 66 games in the season, they currently have 16 games left in their season. Taking a look at what's going on in Memphis, the Grizzlies hosted the New Orleans Pelicans. The Grizzlies would end up beating the Pelicans 132-111. The Grizzlies would win this matchup by 11 after they would go on to outscore the Pelicans by 19 in the first half and then by 9 in the third quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the Pelicans were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, their former All-Star CJ McCollum. He finished with 32 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 13 for 21 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and he would shoot 1 for 3 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Memphis Grizzlies were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Ja Morant, out of Murray State. He finished with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 27 minutes. He shot 8 for 13 from the field. He would go on to shoot 2 for 4 from 3 and 6 for 7 from the foul line. Their starting power forward out of Michigan State, Jaren Jackson Jr., finished with 22 points in 24 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field. He would go on to shoot a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. Their starting shooting guard out of TCU, Desmond Bane, finished with 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 26 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt on the night. With this win, the Memphis Grizzlies are now 45-22. That is the second best record in the Western Conference and the second best record in the NBA, for that matter. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. In the playoff picture, they are sitting 8 games behind the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns, and they are sitting half a game ahead of the third place Golden State Warriors, who are tied with the Miami Heat for the third best record in the NBA. And then with this loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are now 27-38. That is the 10th best record in the Western Conference. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. Just sitting within the play-in picture, they sit a game and a half behind the 9th place Los Angeles Lakers, and they are sitting a game and a half ahead of the 11th place Portland Trailblazers, who are the first team on the outside of the Western Conference looking in. Jumping out to Oklahoma City, the Thunder hosted the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks would beat the Thunder 142-115 to at least clinch not having a losing record this year. The Bucks won this game by a combined 27 points, if I'm not mistaken, as they would go on to outscore the Oklahoma City Thunder by 11 points in the first half. They also outscored the Thunder by 15 points in the fourth quarter itself. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Oklahoma City Thunder were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Kentucky, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He finished with 33 points, 8 rebounds, 14 assists, 3 steals, and 5 turnovers. He would do all of this in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 18 from the field. He shot a perfect 3 for 3 from 3, and he would go on to shoot 8 for 12 from the foul line. And then on the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks would be led in scoring by their elite starting power forward, the reigning NBA Finals MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He would go on to finish with 39 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals in 28 minutes. He shot 13 for 19 from the field. He would go on to make all 4 of his threes on the night. He shot 9 for 13 from the foul line. Their all-star starting small forward Chris Middleton finished with 25 points, 2 rebounds, and 9 assists in 30 minutes. He would go on to shoot 9 for 17 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. Their starting center, Bobby Portis, finished with 18 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 steals in 28 minutes. He shot 7 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 41-25. That is the 3rd best record in the Eastern Conference, as they've now won their last 5 games. Their 5 games is the longest active winning streak in the Eastern Conference. It is tied with the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves for the longest active winning streak in the NBA, as the Bucks have won 6 of their last 10. In the playoff picture, they've won 1 more game and they've lost 1 more game than the Sixers. So the Sixers have a win percentage edge on the Bucks, but the Bucks are sitting 3 games behind the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat, and they are sitting a game and a half ahead of the 4th place Chicago Bulls, as they are the 2nd team in the Eastern Conference to have crossed the 41 win threshold in this 82 game season. With this loss, the Oklahoma City Thunder are 20-45. That is the 2nd worst record in the Western Conference, and they are currently holding the 4th worst record in the NBA. They've lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. Their 3-game losing streak is the 2nd longest active losing streak in the Western Conference. They are currently sitting 7 games behind the 10th place New Orleans Pelicans outside of the Western Conference play-in picture. And then last but not least, jumping out to San Francisco, the Golden State Warriors hosted the Los Angeles Clippers. The Warriors beat the Clippers 112-97. They would win this game by 15 after they outscored the Clippers by 18 in the second quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the LA Clippers were led in scoring by their starting power forward, Nick Batum. Batum finished with 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals in 27 minutes. He shot 6 for 11 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Golden State Warriors would be led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Klay Thompson. He would lead the starters in scoring, as he and Jordan Poole would each finish with 20 points. Thompson finished with 20 points and 5 rebounds alongside 2 blocks in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 23 from the field and 2 for 9 from 3. Poole finished with 20 points and 2 steals in 30 minutes. He shot 8 for 13 from the field and 4 for 6 from 3. Their power forward off the bench, Jonathan Kuminga, would actually lead the game, both teams in scoring. He finished with 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 26 minutes. He shot 7 for 12 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and he would shoot 5 for 6 from the foul line. Their goated starting point guard out of Davidson, the NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers made, Stephen Curry, finished with 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. In 35 minutes, he would shoot 5 for 12 from the field. He shot 1 for 6 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws on the night. Their all-star starting small forward, Andrew Wiggins, out of Kansas, would finish with 14 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks, alongside 5 turnovers in 31 minutes. Wiggins shot 6 for 14 from the field and 2 for 5 from 3. With this win, the Golden State Warriors are 44-22. That is the 3rd best record in the Western Conference, and they are tied with the Miami Heat for the 3rd best record in the NBA. They've won 3 of their last 10 games. In the playoff picture out west, they are sitting half a game behind the 2nd place Memphis Grizzlies. They are sitting 3 games ahead of the 4th place Utah Jazz. They're sitting 8.5 games behind the Western Conference and NBA leading Phoenix Suns at the moment. With this loss, the Los Angeles Clippers are 34-33. That is the 8th best record in the Western Conference. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 3 of their last 10. In the Western Conference playoff picture, they are sitting 3.5 games behind the 7th place Minnesota Timberwolves, and they are sitting 4.5 games ahead of the 9th place Los Angeles Lakers, who share an arena with them. But that is what they are looking like, and that is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's matchups. So that's yesterday. Taking a look at what's going on today, and because today is Wednesday, the primetime matchup is going to be, or both matchups are going to be on ESPN at 7:30. The Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat are going to host the Western Conference and NBA leading Phoenix Suns in FTX Arena. The Phoenix Suns, the team on the road, enter this matchup having won 7 of their last 10 games. They are 24-6 on the road. The Miami Heat enter this home matchup with a 23-7 record at home. The Heat have won their last 3 games, and they've won 8 of their last 10. And the Heat are currently sitting 3 games ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks out east. Looking at the second game on prime time on ESPN, the Utah Jazz, who hold the 4th best record in the West, are looking to clinch a non-losing record this season as they look to clinch win number 41 at home versus the Portland Trailblazers, who are holding the 5th worst record in the West. This is going to be in Vivint Arena. Portland on the road enters this matchup having lost their last 5 games. Their 5-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the Western Conference and is tied with the Chicago Bulls for the longest active losing streak in the NBA. The Trailblazers are sitting a game and a half outside of a play-in spot, so this is a must-win for them. The Jazz have won 7 of their last 10 games, and they are sitting 3 games behind the 3rd-place Golden State Warriors at the moment. So those are the 2 games on prime time. Looking at the games that aren't on prime time at 7 o'clock, the Charlotte Hornets are going to host the Boston Celtics in the Spectrum Center. At the same time, at 7 o'clock, the Detroit Pistons are going to host the Chicago Bulls. At 8 o'clock, the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks look to clinch a winning season as they host the Atlanta Hawks, who hold the 10th best record in the East. At 8 o'clock, the Houston Rockets, who hold the worst record in the West, are going to host the Los Angeles Lakers at the Toyota Center. At 8 o'clock, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to host the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then at 8 o'clock, the New Orleans Pelicans are going to host the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic are currently holding the worst record in the NBA. At 8:30, the Dallas Mavericks are going to host the New York Knicks at the American Airlines Center. At 8:30, the San Antonio Spurs are going to host the Toronto Raptors at the AT&T Center. At 10 o'clock, the Sacramento Kings are going to host the Denver Nuggets. And then at 10:30, last but not least, in the Crypto.com Arena, the LA Clippers are going to host the Washington Wizards. So that's what the NBA is looking like as we move day by day. And then taking a look at what is going on in the world of soccer, taking a quick glance at what went on with CONCACAF Champions League in the first leg. New York City FC was able to beat Comunicaciones 3-1 as Seattle Sounders was able to win its game versus Leon 3-0 as Montero was able to pick up a brace. Looking at what's going on with Champions League in Europe, looking at the first 2 matchups for the second leg round of 16. Coming into yesterday's matchups, there were 16 teams competing, and leaving yesterday's matchups coming into today, there are now 14 teams left. Looking at the first matchup that took place in Germany, the reigning Bundesliga champs Bayern Munich, the only remaining German team in the Champions League, would host FC Salzburg, the reigning Austrian champs and the only team representing Austria. Coming into this matchup, the aggregate was at 1-1 at Salzburg. Bayern Munich would end up winning the second leg 7-1 to win this aggregate 8-2. Their first 3 goals would come from their goated Polish striker Robert Lewandowski. He would score a penalty in the 12th minute, in the 21st minute as well, and he would score in the 23rd minute. Bayern's 4th goal would come from their elite German winger, Serge Gnabry, in the 31st minute. they would go into the half up 4-0. Their fifth goal would come in the second half from their go-to German midfielder Thomas Müller. And so with their sixth in the 83rd minute, after Salzburg scored its lone goal, and then Leroy Sané, their elite German winger, would score in the 85th minute to give Bayern the 7-1 win. They will advance 8-2 into the quarterfinals rather easily after people thought that they would have a tough time even making it through this round. And then looking at the other matchup, Liverpool would end up hosting Inter Milan as the Liverpool, the reigning Premier League runners-up, and the current runners-up would go on to host the reigning Serie A champs, who are currently competing for the best record in Italy. Coming into this matchup, Liverpool had won the very first matchup 2-0 in Milan. Inter Milan would end up beating Liverpool 1-0 in this matchup, as its lone goal will come from its elite Argentinian striker Lautaro Martinez in the 61st minute. However, 2 minutes later, Inter would draw a red card from Alexis Sanchez, and because Liverpool would end up having the advantage on aggregate, it will be Liverpool that will be the team that advanced, despite the fact that Inter will be the first team to beat Liverpool in Champions League in Liverpool Stadium in over a year. But of course, Liverpool and Bayern Munich so far are the only two teams that have advanced into the next round, as Bayern Munich and Liverpool were the only two teams to win they're not the only two teams, but they were two teams to win all six of their group stage games. The other team to do that was Ajax this year. But with that said, there are 14 teams left, and going into today, or I guess leaving today, there will be 12 teams left, as we will be halfway through the second leg. The matchups going on today are going to feature Manchester City and Sporting CP. The first leg would see Manchester City go up 5-0 on aggregate. This was after Manchester City would finish on top of Group A over PSG. Sporting CP would finish runners-up under Ajax in Group C. So this, like I said, this was after Manchester City went up 5-0 in Portugal. So this looks as though Manchester City has a very solid path. All they have to do is not allow as many goals from Sporting CP side. And then the other matchup is going to feature Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain in Madrid. PSG currently lead this matchup 1-0 on aggregate, but they're going to be missing Kylian Mbappe and Sergio Ramos. Real Madrid are going to be hosting this matchup after Real Madrid would end up winning their matchup in Group D with Inter Milan, the team that ended up losing yesterday to Liverpool. Paris Saint-Germain enters this matchup having finished runners-up to Man City in Group A, as Man City looks to be one of the teams to advance. But the matchup that many people are going to have their eyes fixed on will be Real Madrid and PSG, as two of these four teams will be eliminated today, and we will have four teams advanced into the quarterfinal going into next week. Taking a look also at what's going on in Europa League, FC Porto is going to face off against Lyon, Real Betis versus Eintracht Frankfurt in these round of 16 first leg matchups. But that's virtually all that I have. And once all of today's matchups are done, I'm going to come tomorrow on Thursday, March 10th. And once again, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 28 minutes of this piece. I want to thank the ESPN, and I do want to thank the NCAA, NBA, and FIFA websites for giving me all the facts and figures that I needed for this. And with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with another episode tomorrow. And until then, thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.